Good Monday morning, everyone. Oh my gosh, it's raining here, which is why my lighting is darker and I look all doom and gloom. But,
I
whatever. We
thought you
will.
had another hair dye
Oh,
catastrophe.
shut your mouth, Russell. No, it wasn't a catastrophe either. Gosh, we're just
You
off to
have
a
a
fiery
lot of
start.
catastrophes about the hair dye. I'm just saying. I
Russell,
don't
I have the
judge.
power of
I
mute. I
just
have the
observe.
power of mute,
The
Russell.
power. She
I have the
It's,
power of
you've
mute.
never threatened me with that before. I like that.
yeah.
I would never actually do it. Well, obviously, good
T-Rod.
Monday morning, everyone. Oh my gosh. We're obviously off to a great start in August. God, I can't believe it's already August, you guys. But you guys listening to Author Talk with
Crazy.
me, Amy, Russell, Valerie, and our lovely author guest today is Bill. So, you guys, God, it's August. Can you believe that? I got my last birthdays in August. On the 25th is Sky's birthday. She'll be
Mhm.
5. But they start school on the 13th. And oh my gosh, I am just not ready for it. I don't know what it is, but I'm not. I'm going to miss my little buddy at home going to Starbucks and shopping with me because now I'm stuck with Josh. And he's not going to be going to no Starbucks and going to go let me go to Target. So pray for me, you guys, because, oh man, I tell you, I'm going to have to do these trips by myself and I'm going to hear about it. But the weekend was crazy. It was hot. We had like a random rainstorm this weekend, but
Yeah.
we spent it by the pool, pretty much just hanging out, chilling, getting ready for school to start back up. And it's exhausting. And, that good old question of like, did Amy get her laundry done? No, I didn't. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. I've hit restart on my washer at least 3 times because that's like, I start it and I'm like, okay, we're going to go to the pool for 2 hours. I'm going to come back. No, I'm at the pool for way more than 2 hours and it doesn't
Clearly.
get done. So at this point, that's just an escape. So yeah, no, it didn't. But what all did you guys do this weekend? I hope it was more adventurous and fun. Russell's usually my adventurous one. So what all did
Yeah.
you guys do this weekend? Who wants to go first?
I guess I'll go.
Whoop whoop.
Okay.
Okay. So I had this horrible thing happen to me this weekend
Did
that
you?
I dreaded. I had terrible dread all week about it. When my wife first announced that our 3-year-old twin granddaughters were spending the night, that's
Fun.
scary in and of itself. And then she announced that she was going to be gone for 7 hours Saturday, and I was going to have to take care of them all by myself.
I love it.
Um,
I
okay,
absolutely
I
love
love
it.
my
You,
granddaughters.
you know
Okay,
they
I
had a
love
great
them.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love, and that's my dog Rita, who is now huge, and she's used to. She goes everywhere with me, and she rides in that back seat. And she was relegated to the very back because of the twins' race car seats, and she refused to stay in the back and constantly hung over the front. That's another story. So, but after dreading it all week, they turned out to be great, and it was no problem. But that was the shock. And but I also wanted to talk about Lonnie Anderson dying. I
Yeah.
actually met her in 1980 uh, for
Wow.
the first time. And I remember the first time I met Lonnie Anderson. Now, this was a woman who I mean, she was built very, very well. She was beautiful. She was tall. She was blonde. And when I met her, the only thing I could think of is, oh my God, I've never seen teeth that white in my entire life. They were like neon signs. They were so bright.
Wow.
And every time I would see her, that's what I would think. It was the weirdest thing in the world.
Yeah.
So, but uh, the announcement was out today that she died, and it just reminded me of that. I hope you
Yeah.
guys had
She
a great weekend, though.
she seemed like a really nice person
She was
from what
nice to
everybody.
me. She was
Yeah,
nice to
yeah,
me.
yeah.
She looks like a sweetheart. Valerie, what did you do this weekend?
It's a little crazy, just like usual. So we also have a lot of August birthdays, Amy. So 3 out of my 4 kids have August birthdays, so we decided to celebrate on Saturday with all 3 of them.
Oh,
And
wow.
um, Yeah, so we had 12 people and everybody brought their dogs. We had 6 dogs, two of them very large.
Nice.
And so, but we had a big brunch in our house, and to make it, because one of my oldest daughter's turning 30, so I bought a piñata, and I was like, we're gonna go old school, and we had a piñata. I made all the kids do it, to the whole point where they're spinning around, hitting the piñata. It was really fun, and it didn't matter that we had 6 dogs. So Russell, bring Rita over. It's no big deal. We have
I
lots of.
would never want to be at a kid's party with 6 dogs. That
Oh,
sounds
I
awful.
it sounds like
Well,
heaven
these
to
are
me.
all.
Oh,
It
hang out.
sounds
The
like
only thing,
heaven.
yes, the only thing worse is, I practiced trial law for 40 years. Bill, there's nothing that creates more lawsuits than letting the kid and a bat run around a party. Oh my God. I had so many lawsuits dealing with pinatas.
Well, the good thing is these were all adults. Sort of. We were all adults. All
Yeah,
of us kind of.
but
But
Bill,
yeah,
this
the
is
youngest was
another. This is the
24.
thing about Valerie is Valerie loves to drink margaritas
Oh,
all the
good.
time. So when
But
she
you know
says
what?
all adults, that's what
I
that
had
means, Bill.
That's why when I have 6 dogs in my house and 12 people but I did
Hey.
not have a margarita this week, but I did go to Louisiana after that party and we went to Cushata.
That's my
So,
girl. That's cool.
yeah, so I've never been to Cushata.
What is
I mean, we're not
Kushana?
really big gambling people,
It's
but,
casino.
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
casino. Yeah, in Kinder, Louisiana. We got invited to come out there, and so it was really fun. There was an opening of a big steakhouse. It had been remodeled, so everybody was there to celebrate, and just me and David just hanging out, just doing nothing. But we floated the lazy river and
Are
all
you
that.
gonna have? Are you gonna write an article on a review of the opening? Is it coming out?
Probably yes, yes, probably
Okay.
yes.
Would you please post, because I love posting your articles that you write.
Of
So would you
course,
please post it on Author Talk, the Facebook
sure.
page?
Yeah, because we have people all over in author talk, and so somebody might want to drive down there and go try it out.
Plus,
It
I
was
like to
a
share your
really
writing.
It was, yeah, that too. But it was a really, really nice hotel connected with the casino and everything. But I just, we played a little bit on the slots and we're like, okay, we're done losing money. That's enough of that. Let's just go and hang out and eat some more and whatever. But it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun weekends.
I
So
love it. I
I
love it.
love
crammed it
Bill?
one
I
day.
love the lazy river. I could stay in the lazy river for like a half a day.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was great. You know what? In Louisiana, it was 88 degrees, and when we came back to Texas, it was 96. I was like, "Why?"
Wow.
And then the closer we got into town, it was 100. I was like, "Let me just go back over there." 88 degrees.
Nice.
It was super hot. I'm not even gonna lie. It was super friggin' hot this weekend for sure. But Bill, what did you do this weekend?
I live in Alabama, and I drove up to Southern Illinois, where I grew up, to a little town called Chester, Illinois, on the Mississippi
Mhm.
River. It's the home of Popeye. It's where Elsie Seeger first started drawing the Popeye cartoons.
Yeah, yeah.
And Popeye was a sailor on the Mississippi River. So
Yeah.
I'm up here with my best friend, and he's got a 60-acre farm and toys, and we're pooling and drinking and just having fun for about 4 days.
Okay, that's
That
pretty
sounds
cool.
nice.
Barbecuing. We're actually in our
Even better.
neighbor's house because they've got faster internet, and his neighbor's in Hawaii. So we've got this whole house to ourselves right this second.
That
That's
is
awesome.
awesome.
Nice.
So I need to thank our listeners. We are top 10% some podcast channels, top 1% others. We're very grateful about it. And when we first got on podcast channels, we've been on for, is it 9 years, Amy, now?
Yeah.
Okay, well, but a couple years ago, when we got on podcast channels, I never could find us. And I would email or text Amy, where are we? Where are we? And then Amy did something, and all of a sudden, even I can find us. And that's something because I'm low technology.
Same.
Amy, what did you do, and where can people find us?
Yeah, you guys, Russell says this every time, but I don't miss getting the text message of, Amy, where are we? Where can I find us? How can I listen? You know, because Russell's one of those, he likes to go back and re-listen, where I'm one, I don't like the sound of my voice. So it just in one ear out the other is generally just how it goes for me. But you can go and find us anywhere that you can look for a podcast, you guys. My go-to is Amazon music. You can go to Spotify, Good Pods. If you're an Apple user, iTunes. If you're an Android user like me, Google Play is where you can go. You can also see and watch our show if you want to on YouTube, over on our Facebook group. Any one of our social media channels is public and open. So you can come and engage, watch us, engage with us, leave comments, get your questions answered in real time. I will say me and Valerie are very animated when we talk. I'm probably more so than she is, but I talk a lot with my hands, and my facial expressions generally says it all.
Yes,
And
like the facial expression when she threatened to moot me today.
Yeah, she was like,
That was a clear facial expression. You will want to see that if you're
Hey,
not
I
watching
control
this.
what comes out of my mouth, you guys, and the tone in which it comes out, but my facial expressions have everything written all over them. Okay. So it's always fun. So you can go on over to all of those in our YouTube channel, hang out, engage with us. We love to engage, but we're really humbled that you guys have been listening to us for 9 years, that we're in the top 1% over on Good Pods and over in Amazon Music in the independent book category. So we're just incredibly humble and grateful. This has been a lot of fun. We just thoroughly enjoyed this. And those of you that guys have thoroughly enjoyed this as much as I have, you know that me and Russell have this whole banter going on about romance conventions and book
You
conventions.
have something new?
I always have something new. Russell, come
Okay,
on.
so first, Bill, do you know what we're talking about this whole tattoo thing with romance novels? See, I never knew about it either.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Amy, give him a short explanation of what we're talking about
All right,
before you go to this.
this elevator catch-up session with you, just so you know, is you will find if you look that a lot of people have book tattoos on them. A lot of people is what I say. A
Really?
lot of them are
Yeah, see,
romance
Bill can't
readers.
believe it.
Yes, that's
A lot of
amazing.
them are romance readers or authors or both. A lot of them are probably dark romance. And so at romance book conventions and conferences, they tend to have tattoo artists and stuff like that there because that's where people primarily go to get those type of tattoos
Can you
and the
believe
audience
it,
for
Bill?
So many little niches.
I know.
it.
I can't believe it.
That was such a nice, like, positive spin on it. Like, oh, I love it. That was
Oh,
just
I know.
fantastic.
I hate too positive and niche.
I
We'll
love
get
it.
back
I'm
to
here
him
for
later.
it.
So, what's your
I
new
am
news,
here.
Amy?
So my new news is you guys, I am booking with our guests to come on. We're gonna have to, it'll probably be a later show, but we're gonna have her come on. She's gonna tell us all of the ins and outs. So she is a big VA for a lot of romance authors, really big romance authors. So she's gonna come and give us all of the tea and all the information for Russell. She's gonna talk about the spray painted tips and the designs, why they do that, how they get that done, the tattoo artist, which she's talked about, especially she's looking to get one as well there. So all these kind of conversations. So all of Russell's dreams and answers are going to come true, you guys. You're not going to want to miss that episode. Make sure you tune into it when it comes out
Okay,
because it's
Amy,
going to
you
bring it
need
to
to
a
make
head.
sure that I do not want to be rude. I want to just be courteous and thankful that this woman has decided to answer our questions because
Yeah.
I'm incredulous by it.
Oh no, she's so excited. She was more nervous. She's like, "Can you tell me like what he's wanting to know?" And I was like, "Literally any and all of it. Like any and
Exactly.
all of it."
Just tell us what's going on.
It's going to be fun. So make sure you tune in. All of Russell's dreams are going to come true. It's going to be great. So make sure you tune into that. Another quick little side note before we get Bill talking about his lovely book, because I want to dive into this and I know Russell wants to dive into it too.
I'm just kind of scratching
I
at the
know. I'm
door.
sorry.
Already.
I'm sorry. I have one more announcement. I'm so sorry. Okay. So, food for fact, Plum Creek Press, which you guys know is my publishing company.
And mine.
Yep, we published Russell's book. We have a new launch coming out in August. So make sure that you stay tuned to it. I'm going to be more active on the the press, like social media channels. I just need a hot minute to gather my head before it rolls off my body. But we're going to be more active on there. We do have a new launch coming out in August, so make sure that you tune into that. It is a science fiction novel. So we are back up and running in full speed. So we cannot wait for that. But speaking of cannot wait, Russell is biting at the bit. So Bill, let's get you talking about your book.
Yes.
So Russell, Valerie, take it away.
Okay, Bill, I have a couple questions, but I want to tell you where I'm headed before, so you will know.
Thank
Is
you.
I want you to talk a little bit about your background and your book, but where I'm headed to find out what this book is based on. Is it based on uh, uh, a Bible, Sanskrit, Eastern mysticism? Where are we coming from? Is my third question.
Okay. So you want me to start with the third question?
No, I want you to start with telling us about who Bill is and about your book.
Okay. First off, I'll tell you um, that I have the gift of tears, so I'm going to probably cry a little bit. That's okay. I can't really control it anyway. But I grew up Catholic and I was a little boy and I was kneeling in the pews and I wanted to know if God was real. And I would always ask the statues, blink or move or do anything. But, obviously that didn't happen. And then I went off to college and got crazy and got married a couple times and had kids and all that. But this deep feeling that I wanted to understand and know God was there. And so I had this spiritual experience. One of my mentors told me it was the gift of tears. After a long bicycle ride, I asked Jesus to come into my heart. And then I cried for 2 days straight. And that was on August 8th, 1988. That's when I got real serious. And then I got deep into the Catholic Church, which I was brought up Catholic. And then that whole thing fell apart. And then I searched all over. And I believe that we're divine spirits in bodies and we don't remember it, or we don't acknowledge how powerful we are, and we get caught up in the world. And so my book is about practical ways to live a joyful life but acknowledge the power of God that's inside of you. Our spirit, our consciousness or universe or whatever word you want to use. I guess we're not allowed to cuss on here, or shouldn't, right?
No, we pretty much cuss on this show.
It's
Okay.
a free for all.
Okay. Whatever fucking word you want to use to describe God, it doesn't fucking matter. Okay. It's all the same and we're all filled with the same spirit. And I think people forget that. And so my book is all my experiences, and I've had a lot of spiritual experiences, but how people can practically acknowledge the beautiful, powerful spirit that's in us. And you'll have to stop me from talking. I think about it like Aladdin and the lamp. Great big genie, itty bitty fucking lamp. That's what we are. Great big spirit, little bitty body.
Okay. I
Is
don't
that
know
enough?
what
Is that
you
enough for
just.
you? Is that enough for you, Russell?
No, I don't know what you just said. I need for you to retranslate it in less flowery language. What does that mean? What does that mean your book's about, Bill?
Well, it's just about when we come. Here's the core concept. When we come into the world, okay, I believe that God's spirit animates our body, okay, and I believe that we're eternal beings, that we never die, okay. And when a baby comes into this world, it's animated by God's spirit. I mean, because when people die, you see their spirit's gone, right? It's just a dead body laying there. And so when a baby comes in, they're pure, okay? They're God's spirit inside that body. But then what the world does is we tell them and we treat them in ways where they get all these false stories. You, you, they get traumatized, they get victimized. We teach them that don't take candy from a stranger, that you can only accomplish so much, that you have to work hard. All these false beliefs that they're going to die and be judged and go to heaven or hell, and all this stuff. And most of it's just not true. And so the walk to spirituality, to becoming completely peaceful and joyful in yourself, is a subtraction of all the stuff we learn in the world. And then we acknowledge our true spirit, which is very powerful and is loving and peaceful and joyful. And once you strip all this stuff off, you just become a joyful person and you have fun and you go about the world, but you're not fearful and you're not so worried and you're not so anxious and you enjoy the moments that you're in. Does that make sense?
Well, so it's a how-to book, right?
It's a
How
help.
to uh
Yes.
would you say is it stoic, or is it Christian, or is it Eastern mystic?
It's
What
just,
would where do you what's where do you come from on that?
well, after the whole Catholic Church thing fell, I got caught up in the Catholic Church with original sin. And I thought, why would
Yeah, I have some
God,
trouble with that too.
yeah, exactly, why would God put this mark on our heart, then put us on a planet for a day or 120 years, and then if we don't get that mark erased, then we either go to heaven or hell. That's just fucking bullshit, right? But I grew up in the Catholic Church, so I believe that shit. So as I started tearing that down, then I started studying everything, right? Buddhism, Eastern philosophy, this, that. And the fact of the matter is that all religions are trying to point us to God, okay? But lots of religions have got a lot of rules in them that really build up the religion and don't build up the people. And so I've got a smattering of everything, of all the truths out of a lot of different religions. But it's not the religions that are important. It's understanding that we're empowered by God. That's what animates us, and just coming back to ourselves. So what I've done is I've taken a lot of beliefs that people have and I've broken them down, like religion and being eternal and those type of things, into real kind of simple concepts. And then I also give people ways that you can think about your spirituality just by when you walk down the road. And so, and then you put these little things in place and you slowly let go of your fear. You slowly let go all this stuff and you become joyful and happy.
Well, let me ask you, how do you break that down in your book? Do you do it by what are the common ways to translate either religious or scientific books to more of the common reading community is by telling stories? They tell stories chapter
Yeah.
after chapter.
Right.
Is that how you do it? How did you uh, write this book?
It's basically that. I broke it into two sections. Actually, I don't really remember that much anymore. But the first part, I call it the foundation. And the second part, I call the building blocks. But the foundation is, you got to lay down some core things, like that we are eternal and that we are divine beings in these bodies for a period of a lifetime. And after and I talk about religion, I talk about Jesus a little bit, which I call him Yeshua because that's the name that he used at that point in time that people called him. And then I weave my stories through there because I could tell you about like a really powerful spirit. I've had a number of like out of the box spiritual experiences. But
Well, tell us a story. Tell us one of the stories in the book.
okay. So I was kind of starting, I was down this spiritual journey for a couple of years, and I met a lady, and she was kind of tutoring me a little bit. Uh, and I don't even think she knew exactly what she was doing. But we were in a cafeteria one day having coffee, and I started to shake. Okay. And I felt like this energy was just running through me. And when I looked up at her, she had flames like 2 inches long coming out of her pupils. And I just felt this energy just surging through me. And I looked around the cafeteria, and everybody had flames coming out of their eyes. And I was in love with myself and everybody else, like madly in love with everybody. And everything was perfect. It was, it was like I realized everything was perfect. And that energy lasted for 30 days. I had no idea what it was. I'd never heard about it. And later on, I was reading and I figured out what it was. It's called a Kundalini experience, but it was exhausting. But it kind of burned some level of stuff out of my body and helped me wake up. Where'd Russell go?
I don't know. We're having big rain here right now. I don't know if you saw my lights flash on and off. So
Okay.
hopefully
He'll pop back
what
on.
did you believe, were you already in the process of at that point starting to write these things down, or when did you, decide like this needs to be, put, put into a book format?
Yeah. I I journaled for, I've been journaling for years, business,
Mhm,
spiritual, whatever. But I got to this point where I felt like I understood a lot of things. And I felt like
mhm.
there's a lot of spirituality out there, and they tell you to do
Yes.
yoga, and they tell you to go to church, and they tell you to do all this stuff. And all that are can be good tools, but it's really not the core. Okay. And the
Mhm.
core is super, super, super simple. And so what I the words I would use is spirit told me to, but my intuition, okay?
Mhm.
And I also can break all this stuff down into energy and all that type of stuff. I can go down that route too. But
Mhm.
where was I? Tell me the question again. I
Just
lost
you were talking
it.
about journaling, and so
Oh yeah.
I guess
So when did I write the book? So I was I got to the point, and my intuition or spirit just said, you need to write this in a single book. Because I've read 1,000 spiritual books, literally.
Mhm.
I had a spiritual book club for a long time. But Spirit told me, write this down with all your stories, with everything that you've done, and the basics of how to do this. And
Yeah,
so,
you basically, I guess, almost like a witness. Your witness experience, led you to, guide others. And is that, I feel like that's how this is all going, and just helping people get to that enlightenment.
yes, that's exactly right, Valerie. And my book is just like my son read some of it. All my kids even haven't read it because a lot of them are still pretty Catholic and they think it's a little taboo. But my one son read it and he goes, Dad, this is just like if you and me were sitting here talking. He said, this is the weirdest book I've ever read. But that's what it's like. It's just like me and you all talking. I mean, this is, I, it's just so simple. It's just my
Oh,
stories and the way to break it all down.
yes. And I feel like you were talking about too, like the different religions and things. Everybody has an experience, for the most part, to, experience a spiritual, like, something happening at one point or another in their life, whether, I mean, something as simple like a 18-wheeler crashed in front of you, but it didn't hit you,
Exactly.
or just something, or, somebody's kind to you at like the lowest point of your life, or just things like that that you don't know, but the goodness of all of that comes together, guiding us to be like a happy, joyful self, and then appreciating life in that manner. Do you feel like that's how your book kind of, you see the big things, you see the little things, and then you can grasp all of those to become what you're saying?
That's a very good explanation, Valerie. Thank you very much. That's perfect.
It's the coffee.
And if you talk to everybody, and
Mhm.
I was on a radio program about a month ago with a guy in Alabama who's pretty stoic, and to use Russell's word, and
Stoic.
and he, for the first time ever, he's been running this radio program for years. We were talking, and he told about an out of body experience that he had when he was a 6-year-old that he hadn't even told his wife. And so when you sit down and talk intimately with people, everybody's got a story. Everybody's got a story. So,
And do you feel like it's by doing this type of book that you're guiding people to a more, not maybe peaceful life, but maybe a like a consoling, just embracing life in a different way?
yeah, I hope so. I mean, that's my whole purpose from here. I've started a couple companies. I've sold my last company and made a little bit enough money to retire a little bit. And this has been on.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mhm.
This has been my passion for years. And I just want the world to wake up, and it's not that hard. And so I'm just trying to bring it into simple English. We're sitting around having a drink. We can talk about this because everybody talks
Mhm.
about spirituality, but we're all spiritual because we're all animated by the Spirit of God. And actually, the word soul, if you take it back to Latin, means to animate. And my definition of God right now is consciousness and life. Because when you're conscious, you're aware of your surroundings, and God brings life. He brings life to everything. And so
Mhm.
I mean, there is no kingdom or no throne, and there is no ruler, and that's just all fucking bullshit. But it's been handed down forever, and the religions latch onto it because they don't want to give up their little fiefdoms. And I've got a son that's a priest and a monk.
Wow. Wow. Now, did you say your book is into two parts? And you said the first one is the foundation. What is the second part?
Um, it's let's see what it is. And my book's called Awakening to Ourselves because
Mhm.
we are awakening to the spirit that's inside of us. It's already there. And the spirit inside of us is peace, joy, love. Okay. Part 2 is the building blocks. And I just talk about the different things that we have to kind of become aware of. And at the end of all my chapters, I have a little something, a little practice that you can do. So, what are you laughing about, Valerie?
He's
Did
about
you
to
see
go
my lights? My lights
disconnected.
keep going out.
Oh,
I'm waiting to be blacked out.
Yes, we're
You
like a
know, but
hundred
to
miles
be
apart, and we're getting hit at the same
but
time.
to be fair though, it's like epic that it's happening with this conversation. It's just
I just
like
thought the same thing. I
it's
thought we were
so
talking about.
epic. Like I'm on board. It's like it's just
I
divine.
know.
And
I think
see,
that I
I'm
was
just
just
the
thinking that
opposite.
same
I'm a
thing.
complete cynic. I don't believe any of that.
Yeah,
no,
we're
it's
talking
fun.
about the
You don't have to
spiritual
believe in it.
enlightenment. Yes.
You
No,
don't
I
have
think
to
you were
believe in
looking
life.
down reading when my lights were flashing.
Yeah.
I
So
know
anyway,
that was funny.
the second part is I call it building blocks, and I've got chapters like there's no fear in perfect love, releasing expectations, embracing desire. Oh, here's another thing. I've got emotions as an unrecognized gift. Y'all tell me if you want me to stop talking. Um,
Oh, we will, but
okay,
not yet.
okay, good. So one summer, it was springtime, late springtime, and I woke up one morning and all my emotions were gone. I didn't feel happiness. I didn't feel joy. I didn't feel sadness. I didn't feel anger. I didn't feel anything. And it was
Had something
scary.
pivoted that experience?
No, I just woke up. Okay. And
Mhm.
it stayed that way. And I'll tell you why I think it happened. I'd stayed that way for 3 months. I mean, I was living in my house. I had 4 or 5 kids, I had a wife, I had a job. Um, I loved my kids, but I didn't feel any love for them. I love music. I've got, thousands of songs on my in my Apple Music. I could a song emoted nothing in me. And in that 3 months, I realized that emotions are a gift. There goes Russell again. Are a gift that we get being in these bodies. And we come to this planet for a lot of different reasons, but one of them is to experience the sensuality of this planet, the colors, the sunrises, the sunsets, the
Absolutely.
music, the water, all these things. And it's actually our bodies, our physical bodies, like a dog can smell 10 times better than we can, right? And an eagle can see 3 or 4 miles further than we can. We are limited in our bodies about what we're able to sense. And that is what keeps us from seeing all of the universe. And that's what keeps us in this game of life that we come to experience and to learn and to understand our divinity and to understand how powerful we are. But anyway, back to my story. That 3 months, I, my wife didn't know what to do with me. I didn't know what to do with myself. It was
Mhm.
very scary. And I'm like, what the fuck if my emotions never come back? And then on whatever that holiday is in September, Labor Day or Memorial Day or whatever, uh, we were going on a 3 day weekend. I was a hot air balloon pilot at the time. We were going to fly at a hot air balloon show, and my son and his friend were staying in the garage apartment in the attic. And at 5 o'clock in the morning, got a knock on the door. The sheriff. He said, "Are you Truxell Poutler's father?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "He's been in a terrible accident and he's in the hospital." And I said, "Is he alive?" He said, "We can't tell you." But I said, "He can't be because he's in the playroom." And I looked over the sheriff's shoulder, and one of the cars were missing. And he
Oh,
was only 15. He didn't have a driver's license. Uh, Actually, I think he was 14. And when I went to the emergency room, it was kneeling on the floor of the emergency room. All my emotions came back in. And then I had like 7, 8 years of hell. He had all type of drug problems and went through all type of shit. And for some reason, I think that the universe, God, whatever you want to call that, uh, big beautiful woman up in the sky, uh, took my emotions away from me so that to prepare me in some way.
hmm. To give you maybe strength to build up and then face that.
I think so, but I don't know. I just think so.
Yes. How did that change your perception of your own spirituality when that happened? You know,
Um, just keeps as you progress through this stuff and these things happen. You just and my book is really so. My book's called "Awakening to Ourselves: The Practical Art of Building a Spiritually Aware Life." And so, this doesn't look like God. It looks more cosmic because I want it to look more cosmic, right? Uh, but what I've learned is that all of life is really about awareness. And we're constantly, the person you were 5 minutes ago is not the person you are now. It's not the person
hmm
I am now or any of us. We're always consciously growing. And when we
hmm
become aware of our power and aware of anything, if you're going to give up cigarettes and you really do Deepak Chopra, he was putting in a he was like 35. He was a surgeon, and he was just cutting people up and making as much money and practicing as hard as he could on his surgery, so he could make a lot of money. And he put a pacemaker in a guy, and then he went outside the hospital to smoke a cigarette, and he had this awareness that these cigarettes were no longer good for you, okay? So when you have an awareness of anything, that is the beginning of change. Awareness is the beginning of change. So as little things happen to you, like you lose your emotions, you go, wow, okay, emotions were a gift. Well, this is interesting. And you throw that in the pile, and then you just keep cogitating, and you become aware of a lot more stuff. Like I used to get pretty sad sometimes, but the more kind of almost depressed, but the more I've come into the joy of the spirit that lives inside of me. And if I get sad, I now watch that sadness come in like a cloud with awareness, and it never stays forever, right? Nothing. Happy doesn't stay forever, joy doesn't stay forever, and then you can watch it leave. And so with awareness, you can change your life.
Mhm. I love that you can, in this, as you're guiding people to, recognize that as well, and recognize the different emotions and the different phases and the different cycles, of all these things that happen in our life, because so many things are unexpected, as we all know, but just, how to handle that with your spirituality.
Is that a
Russell.
question? How to handle
No,
that with your
Russell's biting at the bit. I can tell.
Actually, I'm
Go,
not.
Russell.
I just got to tell you, I am so grateful that because I keep coming in and out. Every time there's a lightning storm, I'm knocked back off the Wi-Fi. Valerie, thank you. You do such a great job questioning, and thank you so much for
Yes, she does. I
talking
agree.
about this with Bill. I mean, I was going one way, and then I'm just disappeared. And you did such a great job. I want to thank you
Yes,
so
she did.
much.
Thank you,
Oh,
Uh,
Valerie.
thanks, guys.
she really is an
Yeah.
experienced journalist,
Oh,
and
thank you.
so that's actually what I was thinking, waiting for the next lightning strike. So if I disappear again, that's what it is. Uh, Bill, where are you going from here with this book and with your project? Where are you going from here? That
You
was my
know,
last question I wanted to ask. And
fair enough.
how can
Thank you.
someone reach out to you?
Yeah. Well, fair enough. I wrote this book and I just figured, wouldn't be that hard. But then I realized I had to market it. So now I'm on, all my stuff is my brand is Sage Life with Bill. Okay. Um, and Sage stands, and I've got a logo and all that. Beautiful logo. I don't have a copy of it here. But SAGE stands for spiritual awareness, growth, and enlightenment. Okay.
Mhm.
So I've got a YouTube page that I just put up, and I'm doing podcasts like this and putting some of this on YouTube. So I've got a Facebook page. If you go to sagelifewithbill.com, you will go to my webpage. I write a weekly story about my experiences, and some of them are really crazy, and about my thought processes. And I'm just building a little community of people that want to become more aware. But sagelifewithbill.com. And my book's on Amazon.
Nice. I love it. Valerie, last minute questions, comments, statements before we
Um,
wrap it up.
Sure. Phil, you were talking about supernatural occurrences. Can you just maybe elaborate on that, or do you feel like it's more instead of supernatural, is it spiritual, or can you differentiate on how that you're, presenting that?
Um, well, supernatural is anything that's not natural to us. Okay.
Mhm.
But television signals weren't natural to us, 100 years ago, right?
Mhm.
So there's a lot of stuff going on out there in the universe, okay? And when something that happens that's supernatural, it's just outside of our regular stuff, and it's kind of a break through the veil of our what we can see, and our intuition and our power is all here. So as you start to pay attention to these energies that are around you, then things like that will happen more if you want them to.
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
I mean, does that answer your question?
Yes. Thank you.
Mhm.
It does.
Oh,
Bill,
man.
I will say this has been the most fun and enlightening conversation. I know all of us were super excited to just have this conversation with you and see your point of view, what your book was about. Russell was the one, the most, I will say, that was biting at the bit. I was getting text messages this morning, so excited, really looking forward to it. So I'm just grateful and excited that you could join us this morning, have this fun conversation with lights flickering and Russell popping
Exactly.
off. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I
Crazy.
will say I'm glad that Russell was the one popping off because usually I have a kid coming in or a dog at the door, and it's just life is crazy over here. So I am I'm very grateful that it was Russell today. Especially
And
after I threatened to mute him.
Can I?
you know what, Amy? And now the storm is over. It's so weird. It's so weird.
So
I love
weird.
it.
I'd like to say one thing to y'all. A lot of people in the spiritual world run around and they say the word namaste. You've probably heard that.
Mhm.
Okay. People go namaste. But a lot of people don't know what that means. It's a Sanskrit word. And I think it's beautiful because it means the divine in me honors the divine in you. So I like to say namaste, motherfuckers.
Oh, I love it. That's the best way to end it. Well, you guys, we hope that everybody has a fantastic Monday. Stay dry if you're in the southern part of Texas. A great rest of your week. We're all getting ready for back to school if you have kids school age. But until next Monday, everybody, bye for now.